So you graduated high school. Well, whoop-de-doo. What did we have for you? Nothing. A life full of bills. A life of disappointment unless you get it together. My goal with this video is to help you create some clarity and hopefully create some sort of a next step and be confident in that next step that you're going to take. So nowadays people are either going to tell you, one, they're going to tell you to go to college. Means go to school, get your education, and then you can have a certain job. I will talk about that because you still got a whole lot to do, okay? And if you think the answer is just going to college, second thing people are going to tell you to get a job, or you may be thinking, should I just get a normal job or just get to the money? I got to take care of my family. I'm not sure what I want to do, so let me just get a job in the meantime. Or the third thing is, how do I just begin to explore life, figure myself out? And that is the option that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the lifestyle, or if you should maybe just take a break. Should you maybe travel the world? Or if you don't have the money to travel the world, what things can you do? Some type of an internship, an apprenticeship. So let's talk about those things.
You know, we ask kids that are 16 to 18 years old to make $100,000 debt decisions when they go off to university. And they're not prepared for that. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. They just assume, okay, I'm going to pay 4 years of education at $25,000 a pop, and when I come out the other side, somehow I'll be able to pay it back. Right. That's not how life works anymore.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. Say people like Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
I think having the flexibility to explore a lot of different things, which you can do when you're in college, which is one of the amazing things about being in college, is you can work on all these hobbies and code a lot of stuff and try a lot of different things. I think explore what you want to do before committing is really like the key thing, and keep yourself flexible.
The people who are doing the work that we care about are figuring out what to do next, not following the person who told them what to do next. And the problem with most colleges is they are high school, but with more binge drinking.
A students work for the B students, the C students run the businesses, and the D students dedicate the buildings.
A lot of people follow. A lot of people are followers. Generally, if not, we'd have problems. We have too many entrepreneurs. We have too many successful people. Like, look how many people go through business classes. If everything you needed was in that actual business class, in that book, it'd be too many successful business people. Right. How many people graduate?
And so when you walk into a boardroom with a bunch of guys in suits who all went to college, you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, because they read a bunch of words. I've lived a bunch of life.
Well, that's true. Their law degree doesn't intimidate them.
It kind of evens us out, whether they know it or not.
Where do you think you get that self-esteem from? Seriously. I mean, most guys...
My mom, first and foremost, but then just living life. Like, you know, being in real situations and happen to be a person of high integrity and honesty and, you know...
You never embarrassed yourself?
No, of course not.
You never walked in and said, "Oh, everybody thinks I'm ignorant here. I'm stupid."
I don't feel ignorant.
Right.
You know, I don't.
Right.
I felt like I came up in a situation, or a time, you know, where I wasn't afforded certain opportunities, and if afforded opportunities, I could be Oprah. I could be Bill Gates. I could be Warren Buffett.
In my experience in business, there is very little difference, if any, between a very high-priced business education and what's available for a lot less money. I went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln my last year in college. I went to Wharton for a couple of years before that. I learned just as much at the University of Nebraska as I did at Wharton. You need to be prodded in the right direction, but an awful lot of it is self-taught. It isn't necessary to pay $30,000 or $35,000 a year to go to some big-name school to get the education at all. I mean, if you're going to learn accounting, which is probably the most important course you take in business, if you're going to learn accounting, you can learn accounting absolutely as well, in my view, going to UNO as going to Harvard. I mean, I see. I'd bet on that. And So I wouldn't run up huge bills.
When you go to college, the key is to pay as least amount of money as possible. You do not want to be stuck with a whole bunch of student loan debt. Student loan debt could never be erased. In fact, if I could go back to school, I went to Columbia College. I took out about $100,000 in debt. If I can go back different, one thing I would have did different is I would have went to a community college, and that way I would have saved some money on my general electives. All that English, math, science, that type of stuff, you could go get that cheaper at a community college. The last thing I want you to worry about with everything in this video is don't care about what other people think, because none of these other people are going to pay your bills, or none of them are going to be there for you when you need them the most. And as 5 to 10 years from now, you ain't going to know any of them. And don't let your ego affect these moves that you're going to make, okay? You just got to make some decisions and some strategies for you. Now, here's the thing about with community college. Make sure that the college is regionally accredited if you're going to do that. Regional credit means your classes that you take, those credits can then be transferred to a bigger university. That's if you trying to go to a bigger university later on. The world is constantly changing. I want you to understand education is a lifelong process. That means you're going to be learning for the rest of your life, or you should be learning, because if you're not, then there's going to be a much bigger problem. A lot of times we're taught in America that, let's say if you have your own business and you're cleaning floors, or if you're a hairstylist or barber, you're doing a trade like that, or a mechanic, people, there's this negative idea about that. It's never about what you do. It's about how you do it. You can have one person that's picking up trash for the rest of their life, and you can say that's the janitor or custodian. You can have another person that's starting to pick up trash. They figure out and invent a whole new system and a business around it, and they recycle cans all across their city, and they making millions of dollars. It's not about what you do, it's how you do it. So don't look down on stuff. I'm gonna need you to shift your mind on the possibilities, because the big mistake that a lot of people make is they close their mind on what they even think is possible, because they're too concerned about what other people thinking. If you're gonna go to college, do it for the contacts and the people that you're gonna meet and those relationships, but don't do it because you're following your friends. That's a big mistake. It's going to school to follow friends, because again, college is a business at the end of the day. Student loan debt is through the roof because so many people went to college only because their parents thought that's what they were supposed to do. Let me tell you something, companies like Amazon, even Google or Netflix, they don't even require a college degree like they used to a few years ago.
If I'm Google, Apple, IBM, B of A, who do you think finds out first that things are changing faster, that new things are needed? Universities or companies? Who do you think finds out first? First is companies. Then universities find out about it. So who pivots first? They do. So these companies are starting to say, why are we waiting on them to pivot to us while we can pivot, not having to wait for them? They are slowing us down. They're not teaching the stuff we want because they cannot catch up with the current speed that the marketplace is going. These guys are getting killed on how slow they move. Next, companies are starting their own universities. Very scary. Let me say this one more time. Companies are starting their own universities. Every college university is going to sit there and say, what do you mean companies are starting their own universities? There's online university. We have it here ourselves. Companies are starting their own campuses. You know, McDonald's has McDonald's University. Every one of these major companies now that have universities. And guess who their professors are? Employees who work there, who are touching everything, who are coding everything based on today's time. Not based on 20 years' time, based on today's curriculum. And you're going to university at Google, IBM, you know, all Apple, all of these companies, and their professors are teaching you what is needed today.
Google University or even McDonald's University, right? If it's a major corporation, they now want to build you up. They want for you to understand their culture. They want for you to grow within their ranks, and the way you do that is by going to their universities. Second thing I want you to keep in mind is that with college, a lot of the jobs that you're going to school for may not exist, because every single year this technology is changing. I'm not saying don't go to college, but what I am saying is you have to really think and figuring out what route can you take so that you can start teaching yourself. One, it's okay to take a year off to try to figure it out. That's fine. If you do go to school and you get a student loan check, right now you want to start thinking about potentially investing your money. I can't tell you what to invest in, you just still want to start thinking about investments. There's so many things, you know. You can start investing in cryptocurrencies. You can invest in real estate. Whatever you invest in, just make sure you knowledgeable about it. And you can go on YouTube or you could pay a professional to teach you about it. Graduating high school, congratulations. Whoop-de-doo. Celebrate. But don't celebrate too long, because you still got a whole lot to do.